Welcome to our free guitar lesson on the introduction to guitar music notation. Let me start by just sharing this PowerPoint with you. Okay, so everyone settle down here. Let's get started. Okay, so the very first thing that you need to understand about guitar music notation is how to read music. And the very first lesson that you need to have in reading music is by learning the first 7 letters of the English alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's how we name the notes in music. If we keep going, okay, after G, we go back to A. So practically, we just keep looping it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, reading the music can also be very challenging when you're reading from G back to A. Okay, so practice that. I think it's very important that you practice reading from G back to A in the same speed as when you're reading it from A to G. So G, F, E, D, C, B, A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Each letter represents a music note. That's the most important thing to understand about these first 7 letters of the English alphabet. Now, secondly, we're going to learn what we call the music staff. The music staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. So as you can see here in our diagram, now it's very important to actually start counting from the bottom to the top. So the bottom line is 1, the top line is 5. Notes are written on the lines and in the spaces. The next thing that we're going to learn here is the treble clef. Okay, so these are some of the music symbols that we use, to understand how to read music. So this is the treble clef. Okay, it looks very fancy, but it is written at the beginning of each staff line of music. Now, this is also called a G clef because it indicates the position of the note G. So if this is the staff, you put the clef there, the G clef, that becomes the G staff or the treble staff. And this is the staff that you're going to use in reading guitar music. Now, why is it that it's also called a G clef? Because when you start drawing the clef, you start on the second line of the music staff. And the second line is where the note G is. So this is a given note. That's why it's called a G clef, because it indicates the position of the note G on the music staff. And we're going to learn 5 different notes. First is the whole note. So the whole note has 4 beats. Then it's followed by a half note, which is half of the whole, so it has 2 beats. A quarter note is 1/4 of the whole, so it has 1 beat. And then the 8th note is 1/8 of the whole, so it has a half beat. And then the 16th note is 1/16 of the whole, so it has quarter of a beat. So these are the 5 notes that we're going to learn in learning how to read and play guitar music. We'll probably start with a quarter note, then half note, then whole note. We'll reserve the 8th note and the 16th notes for later. Now, as far as those notes are concerned, as you can see, except the whole note, all the other notes have what we call a note head and the stem. If this is the quarter note, that is the note head, and then this is the stem. So the stem can either go up or go down. Now the rule is very simple. If the note head is written below the 3rd line, the stem goes up. If the note head is written above the 3rd line, the stem goes down. So as you can remember, this is the G note. Now if this is G, then we can practically read from G up to here. So in this case, this is the E note, okay, because this is G, A, B, C, D, and then E. The most important thing about this is the note head determines the position of the note on the staff, not the stem. So look at the note head. So it determines the position of the note. Good. The notes on the treble staff. Well, we can start with the lines, and these are the 5 notes on the 5 lines. It starts with an E, and of course we know that that's a G, and then B, and then D, and then F. It's not easy to remember these notes on the line, so we develop what we call an acronym. Every good boy deserves fruit. So that's what the acronym is. For every word, the first letter represents the note here. So first line, E. for every. Second line, G for good. Third line, B for boy. D, the fourth line, for deserves. And F for the fifth line, which is fruit. So every good boy deserves fruit. Some would say every good boy does fine. It doesn't matter what acronym you use. The most important thing is you use it so you can remember the names of the notes and the lines. Now, let's learn the notes in the spaces. And there are 4 spaces, so there are 4 letters that we're going to use. Now, guess what? We're going to supply the missing letters here in between these 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines, 2 lines. So in between E and G, what is the letter missing? Well, of course, it's F. And between G and B, the missing letter is A. And between B and D, the missing letter is C. And between D and F, the missing letter is an E. So F-A-C-E. And this is probably the shortest acronym that you can have and the easiest because it forms straight away the word face. All right? So easy to remember. No gimmicks there. And very, very simple. So the notes on the lines are E, G, B, D, F. Every good boy deserves fruit. And the notes in the spaces, F-A-C-E, or face. Notes are also written on ledger lines and in ledger spaces. Now, what are these? Well, these are the spaces and the lines that are beyond the 5 lines of the music staff. They're what we call the short lines. Extra notes can be added by the use of short lines called ledger lines. And of course, notes are also written below or above the line, so they're called ledger spaces. Okay? So as you can see here, from E to F, okay, those are the notes on the lines and in the spaces. And the first note here below the first line is a D, because that's the letter that comes before E. And the note after the 5th line, above the 5th line, is a G, because that's the note that comes after F. Okay, very simple. So there are notes that can be written on ledger lines. Now, ledger lines can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can go up and it can go down as well. Most important is you know exactly what those notes are by remembering the first 7 letters of the English alphabet and the notes on the lines and the notes in the spaces. Then we're going to learn about bar lines, and measure. We'll learn first what a bar line is. So this is the line that crosses from the 5th to the 1st line of the music staff. Now, there are 2 kinds of bar lines. There's single bar line, and this is the double bar line. If it is a double bar line and one is thin and the other is thick, that means it's the end of a song, okay, or it's the end of a section of a song. So this one here, the bar line, divides the staff, and the space between 2 bar lines is called a bar or a measure. And this is where we're going to learn how to put the notes in one measure or one bar. And so we can identify the length of the note that we play on the guitar. So we're going to learn the values of the notes and their equivalent rests. So every note has an equivalent rest. So in our diagram, as you can see here, remember the whole note, it has 4 beats. It also has what we call a whole rest. And this is how it looks. Half note has a half rest, and this is how it looks as well. It has 2 beats of silence. So beats of silence are in the rests and beats of playing are in the notes. Quarter note is 1 beat and it has its own quarter rest, and it looks like this. And 8th note has 1/2 beat and it also has 8th rest, and this is how it looks. And 16th note is 1/4 of a beat and there is also 16th rest, and this is how it looks. So very, very simple. Now, there's a big difference between the whole rest and the half rest. The difference is where you are writing it. The whole rest is hanging from the 4th line of the staff. The half rest is sitting on the 3rd line. Otherwise, they will look exactly the same. The quarter rest is quite unique, so you don't need to worry about identifying them. It's very easy. Let's worry about the 16th and 8th notes later on. So, another thing that we need to understand is the importance of a dot. A dot is placed after a note. Okay, and what it does, it increases the value of that note by 1/2. So half note was 2 beats plus a dot, which is half of the 2 equals 1. So now a dotted half note is equals 3 counts or 3 beats. And a dotted quarter note is now 1 1/2. and the dotted whole note is now 6 counts. Now there's another symbol or sign that you need to understand. This is what we call the curved line. In this case, the curved line is used as a tie. A tie is a curved line joining two or more notes of the same pitch, where the second note or notes is not played, but its time value is added to that of the first note. So what does it mean? You only play this note here, but then you let the string of the guitar, the sound of the guitar, ring for another one beat. So this is 1, 2, and then 3 here, okay, plus 1. And then here is 7 counts, but you only play it once here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to demonstrate it right here. Now, the first note is an F note. Okay, now you remember the F note in the first space. Okay, F-A-C-E, if you remember the acronym that we use to identify the notes in the spaces, F-A-C-E. So this is F. And in the second illustration, this one is a G. Every good boy deserves fruit, if you remember that. Okay, so let's play the first illustration there. So it's an F. So just point it straight away. It's the 4th string on the 3rd fret. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's do that again. So you just have to play the first note, but then you let the string or the sound of the string of the guitar ring for another one beat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, then in the second illustration, the note is G. So we're going to play a whole note, a half note, and a quarter note. They're all tied together. So it will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1. Okay, or you can count it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's what a tie is. The next thing that we're going to learn is what we call the time signature. And this is very important because this will determine the number of beats in one bar. Okay, so the first one is what we call a 4/4 time signature. And the 4/4 time signature is actually, very simple to remember. The two number 4s. The top one indicates that there are 4 beats in one bar. So the bar, remember, the bar divides the staff. Okay, so in between 2 bar lines is 4 beats. Now the 4 beats can be in combination of so many things, or at least in this case, either the notes or the rests. Okay, now the bottom 4 indicates that each beat is worth a quarter note. So the top 4 indicates that there are 4 beats in a bar. The bottom 4 indicates that the note that receives 1 beat is a quarter note. Okay, and the note that is illustrated here is the G note again. So that's the 3rd string here on your guitar. So let's play it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the last note on the 4th bar is not a G, it's an A. Okay, so it is actually the 3rd string on the 2nd fret. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's how you play that illustration there. Good. Now, there's another way of writing 4/4, the lazy way. Some composers actually write it like this. This is a symbol. We call it the common time symbol. Now, why do we call it the common time? Well, because 4/4 is the most common time signature used in the music world, and it is symbolized by the big letter C, or it looks like a letter C, but it's not really. Okay, it's just a music symbol. Another time signature that we're going to learn is the 3/4 time signature. Now the 3/4 time signature is very simple. There are only 3 beats in a bar. Okay, so in our example, you can see the time signature written right there after the clef. Again, the note G is being illustrated. let me just give you a brief note here on bar number 4. That combination there, it has 8 notes, a quarter note. So we will not touch that at this point, okay, because I promised that we're going to learn the 8th notes later on. Okay, so we will only play up to here, okay, bars 1, 2, and 3. So there are 3 beats in a bar, and this is still the note G, so it's a 3rd string. So to play this illustration, it will sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, why? Because the 3rd beat here on the 3rd bar is a rest. So you don't play, but you still count. Just remember that. That's what the rest is. The counting will continue even if there is no note to play. All right, so that's the 3-4. So if we continue, the first lesson is about the 1st string, okay, of your guitar. So there are 6 strings of the guitar. This is the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the bottom one is the thinnest string, which is the number 1 string, and the top one, which is the thickest string, is the 6th string. Okay? Before we start with lesson 1, there are 3 diagrams that I want you to get familiar with. So the first one is the staff where the notes are, okay, and that will tell you the note on the top, okay, so the name of the note, and then remember the treble clef or the G clef is right there, the 5 lines and 4 spaces, the thick and thin lines, double bar line, okay, and then on the second diagram you have the fretboard of the guitar. I mean, up to the number of frets that will practically indicate the notes. So this is the nut of the guitar, which is this one here. And then this is the 1st fret, so the 1st fret, the 2nd fret, and then the 3rd fret right there. Okay? The 3rd diagram is the 3 boxes right here. So the first one is indicating the open string. Okay, that means just the fret bar, there is no finger used here. Now, on the 2nd note, which is an F, so you use the 1st finger on the 1st string on the 1st fret. And then the G note, you use the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Okay, so that's why it's very important to somehow get familiar with all these 3 diagrams, because you're going to learn the names of the notes that's on the staff, and then which fret you're going to press and which string, and then which finger you're going to use. A very important note here: place your fingers on their tips immediately behind the frets and press hard to avoid the buzzing or deadened notes. Okay, so you need to press it just a little bit harder, and this is the reason why I always recommend using a nylon string guitar to start with, because this is a steel string guitar, and the steel strings are a bit harder than the nylon strings to press. So let's play. In the music staff here, there are 3 notes: E, F, and G. So this is the note E, open 1st string, no fingers placed behind frets, and F is on the 1st fret, 1st finger. So that's on the 5th line of the staff. Okay, this one, E, is on the 4th space, and then the G is in the space above the 5th line, and this is the 3rd fret, okay, played by the 3rd finger. So you use the 3rd finger to play G. E, open, 1st fret, F, 3rd fret, G. So E, F, G, E, F, G, E, F, G. Okay, do that probably about 3 to 5 times so your fingers will get used to the movement. Okay, so that's the 1st string, okay, and the 3 notes that you can play there: E, F, and G. All right, remember that. Now, let's have some exercises for lesson 1. So those 3 notes, and you have 3 exercises here, different combinations of the notes here: E, F, and G. Ready? Okay, good. Let's get started. Now, before you play, you have to analyze first, okay, the staff. So as you can tell, the fretboard is gone. The boxes, well, the fingers or the finger assignments are gone. What is left is just the music staff. And this is how you're going to learn how to play the guitar using guitar music notation. By remembering the names of the notes in the spaces and on the lines of the music staff. Okay? The guitar music staff. Okay. So the G clef is there. The time signature is there, telling you that there are only 4 beats in each bar. So let's get started with the first one. So it starts like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if that is too fast, you can slow it down. It's actually good if you can use what we call a metronome, but that will come later on. Okay, let's just learn how to read the notes first. Okay, so slow it down like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now that's the first music staff there. The second one starts with still the note E. Okay, remember we're doing E, F, and G in different configuration. All right, so let's get started. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so as you can tell, you have to follow the sequence of the notes where they are written. And this is the reason why it's very important to really remember what the names of the notes are and where they are located, where they can be found on the guitar fretboard. Let's move on to example number 3 or exercise number 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we play it from the beginning, all the 3 exercises, this will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those are the 3 exercises for lesson 1, and I suggest that you do this, okay, 3 to 5 times so that your fingers will get used to moving from one fret to another. Now this is just the first string. All right, so guess what happens? Lesson 2 is about the second string. So are you ready to learn the second string of your guitar? All right, so the same diagrams here that we have mentioned a while ago. 3 diagrams. The number 1 is the music notation. Number 2 here on the right is your guitar fretboard. And the bottom diagram here are the boxes that will show you which fingers to use. Okay, so let's get started. This is B, open, second string. And if you remember, the note B is on the 3rd line. Okay, why? Well, every good boy deserves fruit. Remember that all the time. Always remember the acronym. B is the 3rd line. And then on the first fret of the second string, use your first finger to play C. Okay, so that's your C. Okay, obviously that's B and then C. And then on the third fret, you will use your third finger to play the note D, which is on the fourth line. Okay? So B, C, D. B, C, D. B, C, D. Okay, so maybe you have to do that 3 to 5 times again to get used to it. All right, let's have some exercises on the second string. All right, there are only 2 here, but this is one whole music piece. So again, this is in a 4/4 time signature, and we're practicing, okay, the notes B, C, and D. All right. So before we get started, we have some reminders here. It says make sure your guitar is in tune. Okay. So the tuning of the guitar, we will study that separately, but the first string is E, the second string is B, open. So okay, you can either use another instrument like the piano to tune it in, or I will teach you another way of tuning in the guitar later on, okay? Maybe in another lesson. So the reminder here, it says, watch the music, not your fingers. In other words, don't keep looking at your fingers here on the left hand, nor on the right hand, okay? Just look at the book. And you can feel the string here. Concentrate on learning the notes rather than memorizing the song. Okay, to do this, you should play very slowly, naming each note as you play it. Okay, so this is B, this is C, and that's D. And then back to C, and then look at that. That's a combination of B, C, D, C, D, C, D, C, B, C, D, C, B, and B. And then remember to use the correct fingering. First finger for the first fret notes, and third finger for third fret notes. Okay? So we haven't used the second finger yet, but that will come in the next lesson. So let's play this one. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, remember the half note. You need to play it last for 2 beats, another 2 beats there. So you need to play half note here one time, and another one time here on the third beat. All right? Let's do that one more time so you can really follow it, okay? If it is too fast, then do it a little bit slower. Let's do it a little bit slower. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you need to do this maybe about 3 to 5 times so your fingers will get used to pressing those strings in those frets. That's lesson 2. You ready for lesson 3? I know this is like a crash course, isn't it? Lesson 3 is about the third string. Now, luckily, there are only 2 notes that you can play here. We will not go beyond the third fret at this point in time. We'll just use the open G. Okay, so this is the third string. 1, 2, 3. So that's the G note. That's on the second line of the music staff. And then the A is in the same string, but it's now going to be played by the second finger on the second fret. Okay, so G open, third string, and then A, second fret by the second finger. Okay, so remember that illustration. So again, get familiar with that. G and then A, G and then A. We're concentrating on the third string here. Very good. All right, that's good. Now let's have some exercises for lesson 3. Very quickly, it's only one line there because we have what we call the note summary. All right, let's start from the top here. Okay, so there are 4 bars to play, and now there's a combination of quarter notes, half notes, another quarter notes, and then whole note. So let's start to play them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember that combination. Half note, 2 beats, whole note, 4 beats, quarter note, 1 beat. Let's do that again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Now, we have been learning practically 8 notes already. So for the first 3 lessons, we have 3 notes on the first string. Those were the E, F, and G notes. And then on the second string, we have 3 as well, B, C, and D. And on the third string, we have 2, G and A. Do you notice now that we actually started on the higher note and then we are going backwards on the lower notes here. So this is the lower G, and that is the higher G. So on the guitar, the third string is the lower G. I mean, there's still another lower G on the guitar fretboard, but as so far, this is our lower G. Okay, and then the higher G is this one here. So let's play all the notes from the lower G to the higher G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In the illustration here, it shows you the names of the notes on top, the location of the notes on the music staff, the fret number where you need to press, and then the number of strings and the fingers that you're going to use. So this is all that you need to practically learn how to play the guitar using guitar music notation. And you will have a few of these on my guitar music lesson. So 3 lessons and 3 different exercises combining all the 8 notes here. If you are interested to learn more about how to play the guitar using guitar music notation, to complete all the other strings, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th strings, okay, you have to head up to my website, bennoynaymusicstudio.com, and book for a free assessment there, online, okay, via Zoom. So like what we're doing here right now. And then we can continue with your lessons, okay, online. It's a one-on-one, 1-hour lesson per week. Okay, so let's get started by just booking your free assessment online through my website called bennoynaymusicstudio.com. All right. So again, let's end the session here by playing this note summary, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so the third string, okay, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. One more time. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I hope you learned something from that. All right, so again, I'd like to congratulate everyone for attending this free guitar lesson on the introduction to guitar music notation. So if you want to enroll for the full course on how to play the guitar using sheet music, you go to my website, bennoynaymusicstudio.com. And thank you for being patient in this presentation. So I hope you were able to get something out of it. All right. So, okay. There's quite a few. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Okay. Okay, so thank you again, and let's see you next time. Enjoy learning music. All right, bye for now.